Hello, Lloyd. How are we?
It's so surreal chatting to you because you're like a celebrity in my house. I watch you on TV, on YouTube, on your channel. Uh, so are you actually there?
I'm actually here. That's such a very kind compliment, Lloyd, especially coming from you, because I feel the same way. In fact, my girlfriend said that you guys have a man crush on each other because you've been sending me videos, and I was like, he sent me a video, and we got the same face. Like you're like and I'm like
Oh my God, dude. Right, I've got to know straight away before we dive into anything. How do you just appeared on YouTube as a pro, like pro camera setup, pro thumbnails, pro titles, pro lighting, pro everything. No one does that.
yeah. Well, maybe I'll start by saying like why I created the channel in the first place, and we can pivot back to this because I think I'd really like to capture this moment quite organically because I think there's like some dots that you just haven't joined yet, and I think I really want to just I want to like, you know what I mean?
All right, okay, yeah, let's go for it then. So,
So I guess like as we just started the conversation, I am the underperforming hobbyist on YouTube, and I started the channel because of my girlfriend. It was a conversation with my girlfriend. Essentially, I've been wanting to start a magic YouTube channel for a long time. I knew that I had a voice. I knew I could communicate well on camera, and I knew I had my girlfriend. I'm always talking to my girlfriend about magic, and she's like, "Mate, you need some friends." I'm like, "I know."
picked me.
And it stemmed from a conversation that happened at Christmas when I said to her, "Hey, my love, if I happen to have these things under the tree at Christmas, it would make me very happy." And I showed her my Alakazam wish list. And she said, "More magic. Why do you want more magic?" And I said, "I'm a hobbyist magician, my love. You wouldn't understand." She's like, "Yeah, but you just keep them in a box. You don't even look at them." I'm like, "I do. I love them. You wouldn't understand. So I got a little bit defensive, and I said, and she was really apprehensive to buy me more magic, knowing how much magic I already owned. But I was quite insistent. And anyway, my girlfriend's quite wise, so I ended up, putting down the magnifying glass, picking up the mirror, and I thought, I've got all my magic out, put it on the table, and that's just not even half of it. And I thought to myself, I think she's right. I think I collect magic and I don't perform like for every five tricks I buy, I perform maybe one. And for me, that's good. I'm like, oh well, I've figured out four that don't work for me, right? And I've got one. And
Yeah.
it helps that, Alakazam have this, if you spend over 70 euros, we'll give you free shipping. I'm like, chuck in the ghost deck, why not? So I've been ordering like lots of magic, and it all stemmed from a voucher that someone gave me. I think the Christmas before last, of like, oh, here's €100 Alakazam voucher. So I started buying magic, and I got really addicted to buying magic. And then I realized that when I looked on the table that all this magic, I thought, I'm definitely not the only one that does this. I definitely think, there are many, many underperforming hobbyists out there. So I turned on the camera and I just started talking about like, hey, is this what it means to be an underperforming hobbyist? Like a collector of secrets? Is there anyone else that can resonate with this? And overwhelmingly, there were so many people that were like, oh my God, absolutely, that's me. I just buy magic like quite obsessively. And I think we fall in love with the idea of, being sociable and entertaining. And then you just figure out how it's done and you're like, I don't know. I could probably do that. But it takes a lot to get from, being a collector of secrets to a sharer of magic. So that's how I originally started the channel. And you were my first commenter. Like that just blew my mind. How the hell has Lloyd Barnes, of all people, found my channel? Craig Petty was the second person who gave me encouragement, and he subscribed and he commented on the channel, and I was like, no way. Like if that was all, I would just be, I've got a direct line to my favorite magicians. Mad. But then it kind of took off. It got so many wonderful comments that were kind and encouraging, and a lot of people just resonated with it, and that's where it started, really.
I think you speak to so many people. You definitely share so many of the same things because I create tricks and I film them. But I very, very rarely, I don't class myself maybe more these days, but I guarantee you perform more than me. Like even the videos you've shared, because I'm like you, I'm a collector of secrets. I like to make my own secrets, but nine times out of 10, especially for the stuff that I share for free, the last time I'll perform that trick will be on that YouTube video.
Yeah.
So, I feel like I collect it or create the secret and then it goes nowhere. And then I'm just in love with the knowledge and it's always been to me like puzzles. It's in a very similar vein. But it's a puzzle that you practice, and you already know the answer to it.
Yeah.
And I don't. The more I go into magic, the more I'm falling in love with performing. But I feel like a fraud for getting this far with this many physical secrets obtained, and then not really being like a magician. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have all like this back catalogue, whereas some magicians are pros and they just carry a deck.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think you're in a very unique position. You're like a very prominent figure in the magic industry, but you don't actually perform that much. It's wild. Like you are pretty much an underperforming hobbyist, but yet you're also a creator of magic and one of the magicians that you would put up on a pedestal. At least I would put you on a pedestal and be like, oh, Lloyd Barnes, he's like a creative genius. He thinks of the most amazing magic tricks, but then you cringe at yourself when you perform. I've seen that. I've heard you talk on that. I've consumed a
Yeah,
lot of your
I
content,
really
so
do.
I kind of know where you're coming from. So I know that you vibe with my content as well as other people, which is yeah, it's just
So
it's a
many people do. And I
common
think what's
problem.
interesting is that like because there's a blog site called The Jerks. I don't know if you read it or not, and he classes himself as an amateur magician, but he's like secretly a bit of a professional magician. It's an anonymous blog, really, and most magicians read it, and he's really well respected. He's won awards for his writing, and and I think he has a whole like book series called like The Amateur at the Card Table, as opposed to the expert, and he classes himself very much as an amateur, but he performs a lot and he does a lot of like experiments and does like a lot of like statistical based analysis of tricks. And I think he connected with a lot of people because of classing himself as an amateur who happens to be like better than a lot of the pros, at least from like the way he writes. But I think you've gone even deeper, or at least connected on a deeper level with people who see themselves as not even just amateurs or in rabbit ears, but an amateur that doesn't even really partake so much in performing magic, just as opposed to the collector side. And
Yeah,
and some people find shame in that, and I kind of feel like you did the opposite to that, and you shone a spotlight on it, and
yeah.
like it's fine.
It wasn't exactly shaming it. I was like, does anyone else do that? Does anyone else obsessively consume magic content? You know, because like
Yeah.
the magic content online is thriving at the moment, right? My channel took off, which was I'm very flattered about. But it was there's lots of people like that love consuming magic content. There's seductive trailers, you know. There's and when you buy a magic trick, you get a dopamine hit. You're like, oh, amazing! That looks so cool. You know, like you get sucked in by the trailer. I remember the Repo trailer brought me to tears.
Yeah.
The music and everything and the girl's reaction. I was like, oh my god! I was like, oh my god! I'm so gay. I was like, I've got to buy this. I've got to buy
You're
this
so
trick.
getting cancelled for saying that. Do you know what's funny, right? It's like I don't know if this is an epiphany or not, but if someone says, "Oh, I collect magic," and you've got a professional standing next to them, and they say, "But I don't perform," and the professional, and they kind of feel embarrassed to say that, or they might get shamed, but that wouldn't happen in any other hobby. Like imagine, because I like watching snooker. I'm
Yeah,
so
yeah,
bad at snooker, but could you imagine people being like, "Oh, you don't play?"
yeah.
What? Like, or like football or rugby or anything. Like when you're like most people who watch or collect the jerseys or the memorabilia or go to the games or whatever it is, they don't get shamed for not being on the pitch. You know what I mean?
You know what? That's a really interesting point of view. I'd never considered that. But imagine, like, I'll pitch you something else. What about if I was a collector of art supplies, right? And I'd be like, oh, mate, this shade of purple is amazing. I haven't opened the tin yet, but I watched this guy on YouTube paint with it, and honestly, he made an absolute masterpiece out of it. I haven't been brave enough to open the tin yet, but you know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I've got this sick paintbrush as well, you know. But I just, you know, it's clean, obviously, because I haven't used it yet. But you know, I saw this guy on YouTube, and he was very talented with it. You know, that's like you buy these things, and yeah, like you said, like it's a little bit different. I think the analogy of the artist's brush is a little bit more accurate than the football jersey. But
Yeah.
you have a good point as well. There is this grey area of like yeah, people collecting magic because we love it. And like I say, the dopamine hit I got from ordering you know that repo from Tobias Dostal, I was like, oh, you know, I can make the key disappear. Oh, it's amazing. And I was just filming myself like over and over again doing it, and then I had these moments where I performed it and someone was like, "Oh, can I see that a little bit?" And I'm like, "Oh, you have that." Like you said, a shaky first performance shouldn't put you off from being, a magician, because obviously Tobias has probably fumbled many times. He's captured the primo versions and the primo reactions and put it on a seductive trailer with some beautiful music. Made me quite emotional. And then I've got and again, I want to double down on the dopamine hit people get from ordering it and receiving it and then finding out how it's done and then putting it in a box. That's it. That's it for some people.
Kind of wines and dines you and takes you out. See, do you know what's funny? I saw like a little viral clip yesterday of Christian Bale, and he was like, I don't want my fans to meet me because I'm a hero to them because they see me playing heroes, but I'm not. I'm only a hero in that moment. And it's so similar to like the magic trailer realm in that you watch the magician get the best reaction they've possibly ever got because they really work for it. And it's shot until they get the perfect handling of it, the perfect aesthetic feel. They don't fumble their lines. And then we watch it on repeat 1,000 times and we go, they're a god. They're amazing. Like, even people who watch me think that I'm better than I really am because I'm not going to post the take where I drop everything. I'm going to post the take where it looks amazing. I
Yeah.
missed that call. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, no worries.
I can pause the recording, I think.
No, just go. We'll edit it out afterwards.
Okay. Hello.
2 hours later.
So yeah, so I was saying about the perfect version of, and then you see me perform, and it's the perfect take. I get everything flawless. But when I actually perform, I ain't that polished. I'm not that clean every time, and my angles ain't perfect every time.
Yeah.
And I think that gives you then, you talk about imposter syndrome, and I talk about imposter syndrome a lot, and I feel it's because I kind of know that you're not seeing the real me on video
Yeah.
being projected out there. And I know how bad I am when I drop the cards or I fumble or say the wrong thing or flash. And I think I find it interesting the people that can just override that with pure confidence.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. But you have to remember that you're your own worst critic. You're when you replay the moment in your head, you're like, oh god, that was awful, that was terrible. But for the people that are experiencing magic, if their only experience of you is being the magician, then they're like, this guy was amazing. Like, people have told me you're the best magician I've ever seen, but I'm probably the only magician they've ever seen. Like, magicians they're not really. So many people just aren't performing tricks these days. They're just collectors, right? And when you see a magician, it's sort of like different. I'm doing tricks that in the magic community, like if you consume a lot of content online, like the Omni deck. The Omni deck slays, and no one ever suspects that the deck is gone. And yet, for some reason, in the if you consume a lot of magic content, you're like, the Omni deck. It's been done so many times. It's for the person who's just experienced it. They've never in their life felt the deck disappear in their hands, and it is one of the best reactions ever. So I feel like we got to get out of our own heads, or like the magic voices online are not the people that we're performing for. Like you say, you're a lizard brain magician, and sometimes you talk to other magicians, and you have to understand that most people do not consume magic content. They have no idea that you swapped it ages ago and they've been holding onto this plastic block for 5 minutes now while you've been dilly-dallying about. The element of surprise, like I said in my last video, it's kind of like stand-up comedy. When you're telling a joke, you're spinning a yarn, you're reeling them in. They have no idea where it's going, and then all of a sudden, oh look, it's gone. They're like, whoa. Have you ever watched stand-up comedy and you're like, where is this going? And then all of a sudden he just loops back to something and you're like, oh fuck, that's so funny.
And that alone, like the callback sometimes, it's that, like, there's some stand-up comedians, and there's also a rapper called Harry Mack who does freestyles. Have you heard him? And he's like a magician. I've compared him to, he's like a magician, because sometimes you say things and it's magic that you know he's planned it 3 minutes ahead, but there's just no way. Do you know what? I think sometimes I get imposter syndrome because I probably, like you, I have loads of new tricks. I buy loads. We essentially, thanks to the power of the internet, we have the latest advancements in magical technology known to man, like at our fingertips right now. And when we go out and perform, we think we should be doing that stuff because it's the stuff we spent the money on, we've been practicing. And most of the time, especially for me, we revert back to the basics because that's the good stuff. That's the really
Yeah.
good goal. And it'd be kind of like a stand-up comedian. They imagine for them, they write this really clever, well-scripted joke with callbacks and light and shade and everything, and then they go out and they do knock-knock jokes that are not there. They'd feel like a fraud in a
Yeah.
sense. And I kind of guess that potentially plays into our mentality sometimes of like chastising ourselves for not being good.
Yeah.
And then when you think you're not being doing the right things or doing the good things, you then class yourself as an imposter. And partially that could be why, like that could be what plays into my psyche a lot to talk myself out of performing more.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah. So when we buy magic, a lot of us buy magic just to own it. But remember, like the reason that you bought it was to create impossible moments, right? So, and I think there's sort of a bit of an identity to being a hobbyist, right? So when I've said it on the channel before, like essentially the blessing of being a hobbyist is freedom, right? You can perform whenever you want. You're not a table hopper. You don't have to cram in as much magic as you want. But the curse of being a hobbyist is also freedom. You're your own boss and you don't have to do anything you don't want to do, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of the times we just don't perform because we're too bashful, we're too shy. Yesterday I was at the doctor's and there was a huge queue. There was loads of people outside, and I was just on my phone. And in fact, this is a little bit of a tangent, but maybe we could embrace it for a little bit. But there's such a attention. The attention economy is just, people are so glued to their phones these days. And this only occurred to me in hindsight because I was bloody glued to my phone as well. I was watching some wanky thing on YouTube, and it only occurred to me, I was like, oh my god, I could have done magic. There were so many people out there just waiting to see the doctor. What if I'd just started doing magic? I had like some cards on me. I could have been entertaining and sociable. It would have been so much fun. It would have made the time pass quicker. And what better place to do it in? Is it in a waiting room where people are just waiting? Like you could just entertain them. But this only occurred to me in hindsight because people are always looking at their bloody phones. And that's why I'm so passionate about sharing magic, because it's an analog thing. Everyone's bloody like glued to their phones. Yeah. And if you just put the phone down and be like, oh, hey, can I show you something? And then you actually blow their mind and be like, oh shit, like that wasn't AI. It wasn't some doom scrolling. I wasn't lost. It was, it was a real present moment with someone, and you can form that connection with them. And I love that.
Do you know what would be interesting? Would be to catalog a few things that you could do. I always talk about trying to introduce ways to have people ask you to do magic. One of the most simple ones, if you're in like a waiting room or on a train or something, is just to do some card flourishing. Just sit there and flourish a deck, and somebody 9 times out of 10, if it's if you're in there like in a closed space, will say something. And that's the easiest in. It's only one word you ever really need to get through that barrier of performing to strangers. It's just hello or hey. And so if you're sitting there and you've got some cards and you're doing even just a card spring or a fan, and someone looks over and you catch eyes, hey, you're already halfway there. And then
Yeah.
and then someone will say, "What are you doing?" Or "Are you a magician?" Or "Are you a gambler?" Or "Are you into?" Someone will ask a question. Once they've started the conversation, you're really like through the gates then. But it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to catalog a bunch of techniques and then test them out. Like Paul Harris always says, he thinks one of the best tricks of all time is self-tying shoelace, because somebody will point it out to you and then you can just magically fix it. And I wonder if there's a bunch of things like if you have right, because they say, hey, it's your shoelace is undone, and then it magically does that. And I wonder if there's things like maybe you have a skag in your coat, or when someone says to you, hey, you've got a sticker on your back. Like that would be
Yeah.
right? Oh, do you know you got a sticker on your back? Maybe someone's put a kick me on your back, right? And you go, what? And maybe the trick is that you say, what, where? And then when you turn back around, it says like 7 of hearts or whatever it's going to be, But a few things that you could like strategically implement into your social circle, social setting that asks to be done. It's just as simple as flourishing with a deck of cards, doing a coin roll, or something that's awry. And then, you drop your phone on the floor and they can't see it. You do Leviosa to pick it up, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really cool. You just reminded me, someone came in the shop the other day and they had the label sticking out their hat. And I said, oh, you've got the label sticking out your hat. And he said, oh, yeah. And then he just walked off, which I thought was weird. But what if, imagine the label was sticking out your hat and was like, oh, yeah. And it just went straight back in. That would be incredible, right?
Oh, Yeah, dude, that would actually be so good. I have one rogue beard hair, and everyone thinks it's like a snob. You go, imagine I could just be like dye it brown in front
Yeah.
of them or something. You know, I'm like, I don't know, some sort of thread system. But you know, on about little strategic things in my, you know, you talk about performing to yourself, and you're like with repo, and you're like, oh, that looks so cool in the mirror. I actually have in my notes, like I started writing it about 7 years ago. Tricks to do in the zombie apocalypse because
Oh, amazing.
I basically perform for myself to a camera or a mirror. And the tricks that I love are the tricks where I do it and it's still like, even though I know how it works, I can still play coy and be like, whoa, that looked great. And I have a little book written like it's all tricks that are just still awesome, even if you do them on your own.
Yeah, yeah. That's nice.
Which
That's
is
such a good idea. I reckon, like, maybe, hopefully, I've planted a seed and you're going to come out with the label that's like the self-retracting label. I feel like that's the sort of thing that you're going to be like thinking about, like, oh yeah, how can I do that? Just like this little thread that you pull, and I don't know.
dude, challenge for the week. Write down everything that someone points out to you or you point out to someone. Like, oh, you've got tissue stuck to your shoe, or watch out, there's rain. I don't know, whatever it is. But everything you do, and then which one of them can you exploit for an effect, or you could
Yeah, yeah,
replicate and recreate? There's got to be a few. There's got to be a couple.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I think there's so many. Yeah, like organic ways to introduce magic. Like I think I saw someone on the snap doing the snap change, a snap change tutorial, and he said, "Oh, if you just do the snap change to someone, someone's going to be like, what the hell?" Because it's so visual, right? It's so easy to do. No one
Yeah.
knows. And if you just do the snap change in a waiting room, someone will just be like, what the hell? And then you say,
Yes. Yeah, you ever seen those like, YouTube reels of like somebody sitting at McDonald's and they make their straw float to them? You ever seen
no, no, I
those?
haven't.
Oh my God, this it's they're all filmed as if it's the third person. Obviously, it's like set up so the magician's got their pal to sit on the table, and they'll just be sitting there and they just make their straw float over or their drink move, and then you can see real people around them being like, "What the fuck? What this? Did you
Yeah,
just see that?" And it's just a really organic way. But that's always been the biggest problem for me is going out, like, you know, when you went to perform to that lady who'd lost their passport or misplaced their
yeah.
passport, you approached her and was like, "Do you want to see some magic?" Right?
Hmm.
So I've never done that. I've never done that to one stranger in my life.
I hear a challenge.
Well, I watched that video and I was talking to Kaylee. I was like, I really want to do that, but
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never, ever, ever done it. Ever. Not once.
One trick to one stranger in a low stakes environment. Yeah.
The low stakes is the interesting part as well.
Mm. Well, in the grand scheme of things, everything is low stakes, right? No one's gonna remember it. I mean, what's the worst case scenario? You get a funny story. You get to tell Craig on the next podcast, be like, oh, I actually took some advice and I did a trick and I bloody fucked it up. You know what I mean? Can you believe it? Like Lloyd Barnes, I bloody fucked it up. Or you do it and be like, oh, I actually did it, and it was actually really filled me up, because I don't actually perform that much, and it actually really filled me up, and this lady or this man or whatever had an interesting story, and I had a connection, and it's not, like I say, it's not just about doing magic for magic's sake. It's just for doing magic to create connections with people. I think that's something like a thing that's lost. Again, I pivot back to the phone. Everyone's looking at their phones these days and entertaining themselves. And if you can connect with someone through magic, it doesn't have to be a whole magic show, but if you can break the spell of the phone and they can look up and they see something amazing and then they say, "Oh my God, you just really cheered me up because I was having a rubbish day because of this." And you're like, "Oh my God, tell me more about that." It's just such a great in.
I love that what's the lady's name? Sue, for the 75th birthday or the 70th birthday that you did. And she was like, "This is the best birthday of my life."
Yeah, her name was Chris.
Chris, I'm
And
so sorry. My mum's name is Sue, and for some reason I thought somebody there was called Sue.
No, her name was Chris, and she said it was the best birthday that she'd ever had. But only that wasn't the magic. It was because she was
That was the
surprised.
Alzheimer's. Sorry,
No,
Chris.
it was the fact that she was having a big dinner party at the chalet where she was. She was with family. They'd surprised her with a private chef. I made the joke, I'm the stripper. But the
And when you say, "No, I'm kidding, I'm the magician," they all go, "Ah."
Yeah, no, it was funny. Like I say, there was one lady there who was just kept saying, "Where's your rabbit? Where's your rabbit? Like, pull your rabbit out." And I really wish I'd had the sponge rabbits. Like, it would have been really great. But my point is, she said it was the best birthday because we were all sat around connecting. You know, even though these guys aren't necessarily like your poster boys for doom scrolling. Everyone was present. Everyone was like, you know, interacting with the magic. You know, I was like a little bit of a catalyst, but the reason it was her best birthday was because it was spent with friends and we were all, you know, connecting through magic. But yeah, again, it wasn't because I'm the best magician in the world. It was just because we were all being present with one another.
No, it's completely true. It's so more off like so rare these days that people go out and do something non-phone related or like without an excuse to go on their phone. Like I was just in Blackpool and I missed out on my cousin's 40th, but they all went. They went like whitewater rafting or something, but they did a bunch of stuff. It was like a few other activities, but they couldn't use their phone, obviously, otherwise they'd be destroyed. And like best birthday they'd ever had, and A because they were doing fun stuff, but I wager heavily it was because also B there was no opportunity to be on their phone, so you kind of
Yeah,
have to be there, present in the moment, and that's one of the beautiful things about magic, where with music you can listen to it in the background and doom scroll.
yeah,
With comedy, you can kind of tune in and out to it. But magic is so mysterious and captivating. You can't look away. You
yeah,
cannot look away unless you're completely, not with it. But it's very if someone pulls out a deck of cards to a group of strangers and someone else in the group hears, what the fuck just happened there? That phone goes down, gets screen locked, and now they're in, and you can't take your eyes off it. It's something
yeah,
that magic can do that not many other things can.
yeah. So I've
It's
been consuming some content lately about like phone addiction, and again, I kind of want to keep the subject on magic because that's what we're here to talk about. But at the same time, such a big problem, man. Like I find myself just quite addicted to my phone. I'm really trying to distance myself from it, and I think not only is it a problem for people, you know, like wanting to connect and wanting to do magic, it's such a good excuse to not do magic. Oh, I could perform that trick, I could practice that trick, or I could just watch more magic content. I could just order more tricks, you know, get the dopamine hit from that,
yeah.
rather than imagine the dopamine hit you get from like actually performing. Like you saw my giddy reaction when I came back, and I was just like, oh my god, I did it, you know. And when I was like
It's
going
like it's
like,
half of it's for your sake, for your benefit,
yeah, yeah.
right? Do you know? I
It's a
think what
it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, you do magic, you share it, you fill up someone's day, but then you also fill your own cup as well, and then you get more confidence. It's like a great little feedback loop. It's really, really awesome.
people talk to me about how do I create these tricks and gimmicks and whatever it is, and I'm not good at creating. I'm a bit relentless in that, like I'll go after an idea and I won't just put up the first method that comes to mind. I'm a bit relentless, but the big secret is that I'm quite comfortable not go, like I was a bit late seeing your message. It was for 4 minutes from when you messaged because I was just chipping away at that little gimmick I was showing you just before we started. But having something like that, a craft or a little hobby where that is more interesting to me than whatever it is, anything I can find on my phone, is that's half the secret to like being successful in almost anything. Is if you spend 10 hours, if your average person spends 10 hours doom scrolling a day, and you spend only 9 hours of doom scrolling, and one of those hours you're focusing on something that improves whatever it is that you want to achieve, you're already ahead of the competition
Yeah,
just by putting your phone down and being interested in something.
100%, man. There's a really great podcast I listen to called Modern Wisdom Podcast. Have you heard of it?
I think so. I do binge loads of different
Yeah.
podcasts.
But he says the bar has never been so low to be successful. All you need to do is just not do what everyone else is doing. He says like the average American is in debt, is overweight, and spends this much time on their phone. All you need to do is like eat healthy, go to the gym, and you know pursue any sort of interest that you can, and you're already ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it doesn't like basically it's not hard to be like an elite human being these days because everyone else has just sunk to the lowest common denominator. You know, it's just entertaining themselves to death.
Well, this is going to bring me full circle before I have to go and collect that car then, right? Because people come to me and they say, Lloyd, how did you blow up on YouTube or get to the size that I am? And they like the quality of my videos. And if you actually go back and watch, my first videos were shot really badly, real bad lighting. Everything was terrible about it. And I said, literally, the answer is that I just started. And I said,
Hmm.
I say to people, you're going to ask me this, and the likelihood is that you're going to fail because you're not, either not going to start or you're going to give up after a month. And I said, I don't mean to be mean, but I don't, there's hardly any YouTuber that I know that has taken it seriously in like, and then be successful. And the only ones I do know that have taken it seriously have been successful. I don't know hardly any YouTubers that stay consistent and don't really get any very far. There's only a handful, but the majority who are always looking to learn and improve and try something new go on to do great things.
Yeah.
And that's because they are not going on their phone watching the thousands of tutorials of how to film a better video, how to blow up on YouTube, instead of watching and basically all these fake gurus that'll teach you how to
Yeah.
market better or do this better. I don't watch it. I mean, some of it's interesting, don't get me wrong, and on all sides of the coin, right? For YouTubing or marketing, there are nuggets to take away, but there's some people they just live in that zone and they think like, yeah, one day I'm gonna be great at YouTube or one day I'm gonna be selling millions of products, but they don't even try. They don't even
Yeah.
start, Which brings me to my question. Because how did you just boom, appear as a god?
Well, so I have another YouTube channel.
Right?
I've been creating content for YouTube for over 7 years now. And this is the thing where I was like, I don't know if you have connected the dots yet, but there was a guy that commented on loads of your content, a lot, called Fredo the wheelchair guy.
Yeah.
Say what?
No.
We are the one in the
Fuck
same.
off.
Yeah, that's me.
Shut up. The one who really liked the 108.9 Trapdoor podcast and wanted me to bring it back.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
That's
I
you.
I can't believe I knew that this would happen organically on the podcast. That's why I wanted to like steer away from it when we were having our little preamble. Because I knew that you hadn't connected the dots yet. Yeah, like we are one in the same. Like that big mega fan of yours channel, that's me.
But what the okay, I kind of felt like I knew there was something there, like the name Fred, the fact that you spoke is the way you spoke and was you were really interested in like not like you're more interested in like the stuff that I was talking about, the theoretical stuff about magic as a whole, as opposed to the type of stuff that I talk about with Craig on the Magic
Hmm.
podcast. There
Yeah.
was something going back and forth in my head there, like, oh, this guy, that was you.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Shit.
I've even emailed you from the same email address. You still haven't connected the dots until
Oh my
now.
God, I'm an absolute idiot. I do, in my defense, I get a lot of emails and it's normally like, hey, I'm sorry, I can't keep this longer. Wow. So is that like, do you put content on that other channel then?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have a weekly podcast which I live stream every week. Yeah. So the thing is, right? So one of the things I use a wheelchair. So I didn't know if you knew that about me, but
Yeah,
I
I picked that up. You said that a few times.
yeah,
Oh
but
my
I
God.
have tried to like hide that on the underperforming hobbyist because my channel Fredo the wheelchair guy is yeah, that's me. Is
No, look,
exclusively
is that you with the hair?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, dude.
So yeah, if you look at my earlier videos, they were really dodgy, right? So I've been creating content online for a while, but the main focus on my other channel is exclusively to do with my disability. It's like how I live from a wheelchair and try to inspire newly injured people because I went through a lot of depression after I got injured. I got a spinal cord injury, so I'm paralyzed from the waist down, and that is the focal point of my other channel. And I do a weekly podcast called Wheel Talk, where I talk to other paraplegic, and we just shoot the shit every week. So I'm not new to creating content. So that's why, like, when I sort of burst on the scene, it looked like it was quite professional
Perfect.
because I'd been creating content. But I really lost passion about creating content about my disability because so I wanted to do something different. I wanted to talk about magic. I know that I can talk for days about magic. I've got ideas coming out my ears, about magic. I
That's what's
love
so beautiful
magic.
about magic. You could spend 6 months going down the rabbit hole of card gimmicks, and then there's another 10 years of content about triumphs or
Yeah,
or just about performing. And
yeah,
yeah, I don't think you should talk about it pisses me off when people say like female magicians or women magicians like you're just a magician like just like fucking that's all what we're all
yeah.
interested in. If we all wanted to share each other's life stories and like X Factor moments, we'd be in a different, we'd be in a counseling session together. But we're all brought together because of this fucking amazing art form and the thing that we can give to other people, which I don't think Eric Mead talked about it before. He said that magic is unlike any other art form in that when you hear music and it can connect with you and give you goosebumps. You hear a good joke, it can make you laugh till your ribs hurt, and you can watch a juggler and be inspired by their talent. But with magic, it allows you to do something, which is the moment that the magic happens, like those sparks connect inside someone's brain, they cannot think about anything else. If they got given I think his example is like a parking ticket that day, or they're in trouble, or they've been arguing with somebody in the office, or something's been going on that's miserable, or something good. The moment that coin is gone, it is all consuming in their brain. And it's the ability to be able to take someone out of any mind state and put them into this state of wonder and astonishment, which is all encapsulated of mysterious and happiness and excitement, all in like one little fusion ball. Like to be able to have that like skill set is such a unique. I can't think of anything else that does that to people or can
Yeah.
someone, and that's what we all want to just talk about and find new ways of doing it. Or my biggest, I need you as a life coach to convince me to talk to a stranger. Really, that's my big goal.
Well, like I said, I'm gonna keep creating content. There's a few little things I want to say before. I know that there's a little time constraint on this. If people do want to check out the other channel, that's absolutely fine. Like, but I purposely not mentioned it on the podcast, or like I really want to keep the Underperforming Hobbyist for magicians only. So if you wanted to check out the other channel, that's absolutely fine. I'm not trying to direct traffic over there. It's to do with my disability, but I would really hate it if someone was like, "Oh, hey, oh my God, you're the Underperforming Hobbyist," and then my other subscribers like found this channel, because the Underperforming Hobbyist is for magicians only. That's why I have not mentioned it. If I wanted to get clout or like subscribers or any sort of traffic, I could have said, "Oh, hey, go follow this channel from my other channel." But I've purposely kept it secret because, like, I talk about things. I talk magician lingo, and I want to feel free to talk about things like that without exposing anything.
Yeah, totally with you.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So everyone listening, stay the fuck away.
Yeah, well, and the other thing I wanted to say was what success means for a YouTube channel. Like for me, because I've got a YouTube channel and stuff already, for me, I never ask people to like or subscribe. Like I've got nearly 1,000 subscribers without asking anyone to subscribe, because I like to give people agency and the benefit of the doubt. Like if you are on YouTube, if you like, if I'm watching content and I like it, I know to subscribe. I don't need to be nudged to subscribe. And like I say, a lot of these views and subscriber counts, they seem like vanity metrics a lot of the time. But what I really love is the comments. The comments fill me up. And you must know, right? A like or a number going up on a screen doesn't mean anything. But a heartfelt comment from someone saying, "You've inspired me to create magic," or "You've inspired me to perform magic," or "I did this the other day." Like I highlighted the channel the other day who he actually went on stage as a direct result of my content. Like that is amazing, man. Like the comments fill me up, and the little organic community that has started in the comment section of my videos has filled me up so much, man. That's why I do it. Like that's because I want to connect. Again, I think magic's about connection, and not only am I connecting with people when I perform magic, but when I create content about magic, there's like connections happening in the comment section, like really organically. There's like a little community of like underperforming hobbyists that are like, "Yeah, shit, man, like I collect, you think that's bad? I spent 20 grand on magic last year." You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah, dude, there's some people who are crazy. Do you know, I kind of feel like you need to start a little crusade of getting people to do something each week, whether, maybe start a Facebook group. I think that could be quite an active thing. And dude, I would if you set the gauntlet of like perform to a stranger, document it. Also, it's quite hard to do that both things at the same time. But
yeah.
I've never performed to a stranger, like gone up and be like, "Do you want to see a trick?" And I bet there's a million, thousands of people that watch your channel that are like, "I would love to do that, but I am shit scared." I kind of feel like you are our guy.
I don't want to come across as a guru. Like also the other thing is like it's held me accountable. Like this really started as an accident. I was just like, "Oh my God, does this resonate with anyone else? Like, does anyone else collect things and not do anything?" Like it's been a feedback loop of just people saying yes. And then I thought, well, What am I going to do about it? I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to go show someone, a stranger, a magic trick, and I'm going to document it like a little vlog. And I'm going to come back with my giddy energy and be like, fucking hell, this is how it went. Like, this is, what went wrong, what went right. And that resonated with so many people. And so the channel is making me perform magic more and then document it more. So it's like a perpetual motion machine. I'm just like, woohoo, baby. And it's rad.
I can see you being like a pro performing magician, but before the year's out, just being like gigging every week.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I think I just may have booked my first paid gig. So,
Oh, no.
yeah. So, well, for those who don't know, my girlfriend is a private chef. So she cooks food for a living. And she said, "Oh, I've got this booking in a couple of weeks' time. Shall I offer them the magic?" And I said, "Yeah, why not?" She's like, "How much do you want to charge?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know, $100, like €100. There's 12 of them. That's less than €10 each. I'll do an hour's worth of magic. Like, how's that sound?" And she's like, "Awesome." So she sent off the email, and I'm waiting for them to reply. So that could be my first actual paid gig as a magician because I love sharing magic just for the sake of it, just for connecting with the people. It's amazing, and people have tipped me. But actually, this will be the first time I'm charging. So
What's a thing that's been going through my head for the longest time is that I want to do a gig, but I want to. I wouldn't charge because I would be like, I think I'm going to screw up. That's how poor I am. But it's just so I've said this is the year of saying yes. So if you notice, I may have noticed I've done like I lectured at the session, I did the Magic Circle, and I'm doing some other big lectures. I'm even doing potentially a gala show in the Czech Republic.
amazing.
15 minutes only, but it's because I'm saying yes to everything. And people have asked me to do gigs. Like a friend of mine was opening up a shop. I was like, "Will you come down and do some magic?" And this is a couple of years ago. I was like, "Nah, I don't. I'm more interested in the building side." But whoever asks me first is getting a yes. I'm like, "Yep," and I'm gonna go there and absolutely crap my pants. But I'm gonna do it,
Nice.
and largely because of your channel, for real.
Ah, that's such a
Like
kind compliment, Lloyd. I appreciate that.
seriously now, like I'm about to go and pick up the car, which I have to leave in a second. I'm like, do I go up to the mechanic and ask him does he want to see a trick? I don't know if a mechanic with greasy hands and my opener is crazy man's handcuffs is the best choice, but
Well, I mean, why not? Like, it's when you said about the lecture. I remember you talking about the lecture. Someone's offered me a lecture. I said yes before I could talk myself out of it. I think you should just do it before you talk yourself out of it. Like, it's a mechanic. What's the worst that's going to happen? You'd be like, "Pff, nice one, loser. Now give me the money." That would be hilarious. You could talk about it on the Magic Podcast next week. Oh, I took Fred's advice and never again. Fucking hell. The worst
I'll
case
see. I'll
scenario.
see. It's got to be the right vibe because I am going to be like they are supposed to be closing in a minute, and the place is 25 minutes drive away, and it closes at 4, and it's 20 past. So they might be like, "Get out of here, fat boy," and I'm like, "Oh, all right, man." On that
We'll
note,
see. Worst
this
case scenario is you'll have a very funny anecdote to tell. And best case scenario that you'd have done it. You'd have been like, one trick to one person in a low stakes environment and then ticked off the box.
God, I'm gonna take a deck of cards with me. I'm grabbing my deck of cards. I'm taking them with me. This is bizarre. This is bizarre. I feel like even
Giddy.
that's strange. Yeah, I'm taking them with me. I'm gonna sit there and just shuffle. I'm gonna shuffle. And if they say, "What are you doing?" I'll say nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'll say I'm practicing magic. I'm practicing a magic trick. That's a good one. I'm practicing a magic trick. Do you want to see it?
You'll have plenty of time to
Oh,
mentally
my heart's
rehearse on
already
your way
pounding.
there. I know, it's fun, isn't it? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, don't hold me to this stuff.
This
Right,
is that
dude.
feeling that you get. Like, this is what everyone is saying. Like, oh no,
I'm
this
sweating.
feeling. Yeah, but this feeling is a sign that you're on the right track of like, oh yeah, this is uncomfortable. Collecting magic is uncomfortable.
They
Performing
say
magic.
life begins at the edge of your comfort zone,
Yeah.
apparently.
No, sorry, I got that right. Collecting magic is comfortable. Performing magic is uncomfortable. And that's what you got to do. Push through the discomfort, mate, and be a magician.
Oh God, but I'm such an imposter, man. Right, I've got to bounce. Are we going to do this again?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to.
Me
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks so much for having me on, and I
I haven't
appreciate
stopped
it.
smiling. Right, I'm
No,
gonna
it's
go
been
get my
good.
car before they lock it up for the weekend. You're awesome. I can't believe I just met one of my heroes. This is so
Oh,
bizarre.
I feel the same way. So thank you so much.
Thanks, dude. Right, have a great weekend. I'll let you know if my car's repaired and if I've done a trick.
Oh,
Oh, I
yeah,
feel
can't
weird
wait.
about it. I feel weird about it, dude.
I think it's so fun. This is going to be so inspiring for people to see you feel the way that they do. You know, be like, fucking Lloyd Barnes feels the same way as I do. This is how I feel when I'm going to perform magic. Like, Lloyd Barnes feels the same way. Like, yeah.
I'm totally fine performing if someone says, like, "Hey, can you show me some magic?" It's the approach. That's the killer. That's the killer. But I'm gonna, okay. Oh God. Okay, I've got a long drive to talk myself into it.
Yeah. You can mentally rehearse on the way there. Go do it, man. Go do it.
All right, I've got to
I look
bounce. I've got
forward
to
to
get this
hearing.
car.
All right.
Speak to you soon. Bye,
See you later,
dude.
mate.
Bye.